Hey, I'm Andrew LaFleur, the lazy writer, and I'm coming to you with a little bit of a different video. It's kind of writing adjacent. I'm talking to you today about results versus purpose. So let's get right into it. Whenever I ask my students what they want out of life, I usually hear things like money, a big house, fame through things like TikTok and YouTube. Sometimes they say things like a family and kids, or some other form of excitement like skydiving and traveling. Something about all of these answers, every time I hear them, they concern me deeply. Not because some of the students say that they want money. Nothing's wrong with wanting financial security. But because when I ask, what do you want out of life? The answer I always get every time is a result, not a purpose. A result, not a purpose. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, results are what happen due to your efforts, right? You work really hard, you make smart business decisions, you get educated in some way, and eventually you make a lot of money. You find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you get married, you get pregnant, and eventually you have a kid and a family. The money, the family, these are both results. Results are an end product based on the decisions you've made up until a certain point. Now, don't be mistaken. I love results. Good results are, well, good, right? But when those results are separated from purpose and meaning, you are putting the cart before the horse, quite literally. Purpose is the why to your what. What is it that you're doing? Are you earning money? What is it that you're doing? Are you writing? Why are you earning money? Why are you writing? Let's get back to money. So you want money. Why do you want money? Is it so that you have money? I know a lot of people think that exact way, and it's not an attractive way of thinking. You need your why. I hear all over YouTube, you gotta hustle, you gotta hustle, you gotta hustle. You want that money, you want that money. Why do you want money? You need your why, otherwise there's no purpose. Your why is what makes your what worthwhile. Your why is what makes your what worthwhile. Let's look back to money real quick one more time. If money is one of the main results you have in mind, then to what purpose or why are you making that money? Is it so that you can be rich? I think that's weak sauce. That's money for money's sake. Or do you want to become a pillar of your family or community? Who can they can rely and look to in times of economic strife or opportunity? Do you want to be the person who can pay for your nephew or your child's college tuition? You want to be the most reliable person in the room. By being one who has, you get to position yourself as one who can bless those who have not, right? That's purpose. Now, I'm not saying the only way to give money purpose is by giving it to other people or having it available to other people. That's just an example. Regardless, we need to always consider our why to our what, the purpose to our result. Why do we do what we do? I don't say this lightly, and I really don't say this lightly. Purpose is difficult to get. Debatably, it's the most difficult thing to discover in one's lifetime because someone cannot tell it to you. And even if they did, you wouldn't recognize it until you find and discover it yourself. I know this sounds a little left field for a writing channel, but I think it's entirely relevant because I know tons of people who they always say that they want to write a novel. I want to write a novel, but they can't really say why they want to write a novel. Often they just say they want to. Wouldn't it be cool to have written your own novel? That's the thought in their mind. I think it'd be cool to write a novel. Let me know if you've ever had that thought, whether you're a writer or not. I think most people have thought that. It'd be cool to write a novel. It sounds like an achievement. And I think the sentiment is a perfect example of result seeking, not purpose living. I'm going to say that one more time, actually. Result seeking, not purpose living. Now, wanting to write a novel for the sake of writing a novel, that's looking at the result and thinking that it looks shiny and nice and wanting it. That's desiring something, right? But without purpose, I believe very few people will or could actually achieve something like writing a novel. And even if they did, what is the long-term fulfillment? You just got what you wanted, right? What now? Right? You just got what you wanted. What now? You desired to write a novel, and that's all you thought about it. And then you have that novel. Well, what does that novel give to you now? right? That's the purpose of what we do. We need to know what can that mean in our lives. Now, writing is one of the most time-intensive tasks there is. I remember freaking out when I first learned that it took Michelangelo 4 flippin' years to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Just take a look at this sucker. That thing took 4 years, and it looks like it took 4 years. 4 years is a long time. It takes that long to get a degree, right? Now let's consider J.R.R. Tolkien. It took him 12 years to write The Lord of the Rings. Let that sink in. Now, 12 years is a long time, but I know not all novels take that long, but 4 years is not considered a long time for writing a novel, especially not for writing your first novel. Writing is brutal in more ways than one. Time, emotional and intellectual energy, and focus are just a few things required to write a novel. And I would say those are things required to do any higher order level task, all while getting zero positive feedback in return. Until you get published, there is zero reward. Nobody is out there watching your back in a way that feels all that good. Yeah, you might tell your friend, oh, I'm a writer, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then you ask them to read your novel, and they're gonna be like, nah, because it's too long, and they aren't those kind of people. You're writing a novel, not everyone reads novels, and you're writing a novel that is a specific subject. Not everyone wants that specific subject. And even if they do read it, who's to say it's really that good, right? You're working with zero payback. Every time you sit down and grind, no one is there to tell you good job. You have to really find value and purpose to keep yourself going there. Even then, who knows if what you're writing will sell, even if it's published. You're working for free with no payoff in sight. So it's important to ask yourself, why write a book in the first place? I think there are a plethora of reasons to write a book. Clearly, people do it all the time. Heck, I'm trying to do just that. So I'm not trying to tell you don't give up. I'm not trying to tell you to give up. I'm not trying to tell you don't write your book. I'm just telling you, ask yourself, why do you want to write the book? And if you don't want to write a book, why is it you do what you do, right? Are you going into psychology? Why do you do what you do? I know what you're saying. Andrew, you're saying all this, but why do you write? What's your purpose, huh? You don't get to preach without telling purpose. Well, let me tell you, I am preaching to the choir because I'm part of it. I will tell you, I'm not sure why I write 100%. I do know though that it's something I want to do, and it's something I want to make sure you know that purpose is hard to find. I haven't really found it 100% in what I'm doing, but you can't find it unless you look. But I do think I'm discovering the purpose of why I write through writing. No matter what else I do, I find writing to be one of the most high value tasks that I can think of. So I'm confident in its noble pursuit. So find something that you're confident in its noble pursuit. Not all noble pursuits are created equal. So I was a music major actually in college when I first entered, right? I played saxophone. Here it is right here. I still keep it around. I like to play. I like to give it a little play every once in a while. But clearly the pursuit of music didn't work out. The reason I think I wasn't able to achieve a degree in jazz saxophone performance, which is what it was I was going for, wasn't because I didn't enjoy playing music. It wasn't even that I wasn't good at it. I didn't realize it at the time, but my resolve was weak. My resolve was weak because I didn't have a purpose behind what I was doing aside from the result. The result being that I get to be a jazz saxophonist, impressing lady folk when they ask what I do, and also I got to enjoy, I thought, enjoying the competitive aspect of it. I liked pitting my skills up against other people. You might notice that as you watch my channel, I like competing. I like to win, I don't like to lose. So I would also get to compete in the difficult skill intensive world. That was great. But it's not only that I didn't have purpose in jazz saxophone performance, but I also didn't see a vision at the time of discovering what that purpose is while I pursued it, right? Which is different than writing for me. That's what makes writing different from music to me. I may not know 100% guaranteed I can write it down, I can put it in a purpose statement, I can put it in a letter and send it to you, and you're gonna be like, oh, that's why he wants to write. What my purpose is, but just like I don't know that, just like I didn't know that was music, but I can, however, see something, I can envision myself discovering a purpose while pursuing writing as a craft, right? That's a difference. With music, no matter how much I loved it, I didn't see a vision for me finding purpose through it. I do, however, see a vision for finding purpose through music. After I couldn't keep up music school for a number of reasons, the main one, like I said, the lack of purpose, which weakened my resolve to overcome adversity. And what that means is that the first major roadblock that I ran into on my way was enough to derail me completely, and I gave up. But I still knew I had to find something else to do. I knew that I'm a creative person. I don't know if I'm a good creative. I'm good at being creative, but I knew I needed to create. And if you're a true creative person, then you'll understand me when I say that if you don't create, you shrivel and just die. You can't go on. I always liked to write. I felt pretty good at it, and I landed on it as a pursuit. And once I did, I felt energy. My creativity was lit up again. And that's how I knew that there might be hope here in finding purpose. I didn't have a clear idea of what that purpose was. I still don't, but I'm working towards it, right? And I have some thoughts as to what that purpose could look like. I think of writing as a self-exploration. I think narrative is one of the greatest ways to crystallize meaning. I also want to immortalize myself for the future as much as, at the end of the day, we all kind of want to escape death in some way, and I think writing is one of those ways to do it. And I want generations of my family to know who I am even after I pass. Through my writing, that's possible. And I know that sounds scattered, like, oh, well, what exactly is your purpose? Like I said, I can't put that in a purpose statement and send it to you in the mail, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for now, it's going to be scattered, and that's all right. I haven't fully developed the purpose of me writing a novel, a poem, or anything at all. But I think when you aren't sure of what your purpose is, which I'm not always sure, you should pursue something that that has two unique characteristics. Probably more. I don't think that. I'm not the smartest person in the world. It probably has way more characteristics. But I think you need to pursue something that is both difficult and worth doing. And don't forget the difficult part. Purpose doesn't come without some sort of sacrifice. If it comes easy, then likely it's not really worth doing, right? If there's no sacrifice, why would you rank it higher than anything else? To rank something above other things is to sacrifice certain things. And if you aren't willing to sacrifice for it, it's likely not worth doing. So it needs to be difficult because sacrifice is by nature part of purpose. And then it also needs to be worth doing, and those go hand in hand. And if something fulfills those two criteria, I think it has a high likelihood of developing meaning in your life. And I don't mean the meaning of life, right? Some people find the meaning of their entire life through their work. But I'm just saying, if you're spending a huge amount of time to dedicate to something, you better find purpose in it. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt out and you're never going to want to return to it. Now, with my music career, I do think it had that difficulty aspect of it, right? I appreciated the musicianship of it. The challenge was always enjoyable, but at one point I didn't find music worth doing in my life anymore. I think music is a worthwhile venture, but in my own life, I stopped seeing the worth in it, even if I didn't understand why. Maybe I never did see the worth in it, but I didn't at that point very clearly, but it did lead me to where I am today. I wouldn't be writing, right, if I didn't fail music, which I don't consider failing because I learned that I was a creative who needed to create, but it wasn't working. So I found another creative outlet through writing, right? I tried painting, didn't like painting. Writing, that was where I kind of landed, and that's what I'm doing now, and I'm hoping it works out. So make sure that you pursue something, because if you don't pursue anything, you don't end up anywhere, right? If you aren't happy where you are, thinking super, super hard won't always get you somewhere. You got to go one foot in front of you, right? And I think that writing does fulfill the two criteria for me. When you're pursuing something like that, which is both difficult and worth doing by your own estimation, right? Based on your own criteria, your own hierarchy of desires, it's worth doing. Pursuing something like that with honesty and truth behind you, while really putting yourself into that work, I believe you will likely find purpose or find where you can find purpose. Like I maybe have, I'm hoping I have. So I ask, whether it be writing that you're pursuing or really anything else, right? It could be community-oriented tasks. It could be anything. Ask yourself, why. What is the purpose to the result that you desire? And I'm going to continue to ask myself, hopefully every day. All right. So that's all I'm going to say for that. I'm not going to drag this on any longer. I'm just going to say thank you very much. I'm Andrew LaFleur, the Lazy Writer, and I'm out.
The sensible thing to tell anybody who wants to be creative is that's stupid. You shouldn't do it. It's your probability of success is so low that it's better just to do something sensible. But the problem with that is that creative people can't do that because they're creative. And if they shut down their creativity, it's like an extrovert who's gone to live in in an isolated cell. A creative person who isn't being creative, they just wither and die. So they're stuck with it. But it is a high risk, high return strategy. So probably better if you want to be creative, or if you are, and you should take this advice to heart because I've been watching people for a long time. If you want to engage in a creative pursuit, you should find something stable to do that will generate you an income, and you should pursue the thing that you're creative about on the side, because monetizing creative production is so bloody difficult that, especially now, especially in artistic domains, generation of music and that sort of thing, it's like you just have no idea how many million songs there are on the internet, and the vast majority of them commercially available get downloaded 0 times. Like I think there's 80 million songs or something like that on the net, and I believe it's something in the neighborhood of 70 million get downloaded 0 times.